Savage, who stars in The Last OG. So this is a show about Tracy Morgan, 15 years in jail, comes back to Brooklyn, and it's about how Brooklyn's changed, it's about his relationships have changed. You've known Tracy for a long time.
Yeah, I met Tracy years ago at the Saddle Ranch in Hollywood on Sunset, and it was like karaoke night, and when I got there, he was singing, he had his shirt off, and he was just dancing around like, come on, you girls, I'm gonna get one of y'all pregnant tonight. And he's just, yeah, it was crazy. He was kissing some Asian lady. I was like, who's that?
That seems like the Tracy I know. Yeah. I want to also, if I can go back to Groupon for a second, I know that you have gone on some like Groupon trips. You went whale watching.
Right, yeah, I went whale watching with the reporter from GQ, and that was a blast, you know.
First time you'd obviously gone whale watching?
First time ever gone whale watching. I really wanted to make sure that I saw whales. I wanted to get all the money's worth, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, it was only like $60 for 2 tickets, so I wanted
what's the right amount of whales for $60?
I feel like at least 3 to 4 whales.
Okay, gotcha.
Because here's the thing, you would think like in the pictures, you know, the whales, they jump out like the advertisements, you see all the whale body, but whales don't give you their whole body. You know, they kind of meek, you know, they meek creatures. They let you see the blowhole or just a little bit of the tail or just show you the hump, that's it. They just turn you on like, ooh, and then they leave. They like real women. Yeah, they make you chase them. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I went as a kid, and I remember the excitement level was very high the first few humps you saw, and then it goes down because a whale's hump looks pretty similar from whale to whale.
Right.
Yeah.
But you could tell by the barnacles. You know, they got barnacles. Like, I learned a lot out there about, like, you know, they got skin issues. Barnacles is like eczema. Parasites. Yup. I just wish somebody would just go out there and just brush them down one time with some soap and water.
Yeah.
You know?
It'd be hard. You just have to get them to agree to it. That would be the key.
You would have to catch the whale.
Jordan Peele is executive producer of The Last OG.
Yes.
You were in Keanu with him, and then he asked you to be in Get Out.
Well, he asked me to audition for it, but he let me read it and asked me to audition. I was like, man, look, I don't do scary movies, dog. I don't do that. You know, that's demonized kind of stuff. I don't let that in my house. He's like, it's not really demons, man. I was like, that's a white man trying to take people's souls out their body. And opening up brains, that sounds like some demon stuff to me. I'm cool on that. I'll watch it in the daytime, but I'm not gonna be in it.
It seems to me that it would be less scary to be in a horror movie than to watch a horror movie.
I can't do it. I'm scared. Look, I heard about what happened. Remember Poltergeist? Was it Poltergeist when the girl head turned around? And they said
Exorcist.
That's Exorcist. Okay, whatever. You know, one of them white scary movies. And they said it was cursed. The set was cursed and all that stuff. Like,
I see. You don't want to mess around with it.
I don't want to get no curses. People already curse me out enough as it is. I don't need no extra demon curse or nothing like that because I'm working with spirits or whatnot.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, look, now that you've explained it, I totally understand.
Yeah, I don't do scary movies.
Gotcha.
But my next movie coming out isn't. I'm just like.
I know it's tax season coming up. I have heard that you have issues with your accountant, or you guys get into it every year.
Yeah, we get into it every year because, like, I like to write off everything, like every single thing. Like, I bought a microscope that was like $300, right? And I tried to write it off, and she's like, "How can you cannot write off a microscope? You're not like a scientist." I said, "But I am a scientist. See, I do research. I look at chemicals and I look at bacteria and stuff off of doors, and then I talk about it in my comedy show. So if I talk about it in my shows, then I should be able to write it off." So I write off like all kinds of stuff, like just really crazy things that I don't want to say, like condoms, everything that keep me healthy, you know stuff.
Sure.
I want to write all that stuff off.
You are not related to Halle Berry.
No, I'm not related to Halle Berry.
But you used to tell people you were to get into clubs?
Yeah, so, back in the late 1900s, early 2000s, I wasn't that popular, but I love to go dancing. That's like my favorite thing to do. And I love going dancing in like Hollywood nightclubs. Well, to get in, I would walk up to the door and I make sure I have my short haircut wig on, right? And I walk up to the door and I tell them, Halle Berry's my auntie and she told me to come check out the club and make sure it's cool. If it's cool, I'm supposed to call her and let her know to come up here. And they always would let me in. And sometimes I had like long hair on, so then I tell them Whitney Houston, my auntie, and she said to come through. So that's how we get in the club.
And that worked for a very long time.
Yeah, and then when I went to Miami, I would tell them, yo, my boy Caesar's in there. Caesar told me to come up here, and they would let me in off of that. Too.
Well, I'm very happy now that you don't probably have to drop any names other than your own.
Yeah, I don't have to drop no names no more.
Well, that's well deserved.
Like,
That's
hi,
well
it's
deserved.
me.
Thank you so much for being here, Tiffany.
Thank you.